In the headlines, ECOWAS holds emergency summit as Niger junta announces 21-member cabinet. Death toll from Plateau attack rises to 21 as Biram accuses herders of launching attack. Fake anthrax vaccines uncovered in Nasarawa, Kaduna, Kwara and Oyo states. Away from Nigeria, at least 6 killed, 12 wounded in targeted Somali bus explosion. Hello and welcome to Trust News Update. I am Amina Yuguda. Leaders from the Economic Community of West African States are currently holding an extraordinary summit on the coup in Niger. Niger's military chiefs defied an ultimatum which expired on Sunday to restore elected President Mohamed Bazoum and have now announced a 21-member cabinet. 2 weeks after the coup that overthrew Mohamed Bazoum, ECOWAS is still seeking a diplomatic solution to ensure the restoration of democratic order in the country. It is expected that important decisions will be reached at the gathering in Nigeria's capital, Abuja. Those present at the extraordinary summit, as at the time of filing this report, are Presidents Julius Maada Bio of Sierra Leone, Umaru Sissoko Embalo of Guinea-Bissau, Alassane Ouattara of Côte d'Ivoire, and Nana Akufo-Addo. The military leaders in Niger who seized power in a coup last month have now formed a new government, according to a decree read out on national television on Thursday. Prime Minister Ali Mohamed Lamine Zain will lead the 21-member government, with generals from the new military governing council heading the defense and interior ministries. The coup leaders have continued to hold on to power despite threats of a military intervention from ECOWAS. President Bola Tinubu has approved the request by a delegation of leaders of major Islamic groups in Nigeria to allow them dialogue with their counterparts in Niger Republic on restoration of peace and democratic government in the country. The clerics who are opposed to war with the Nigerian military as threatened by the Economic Community of West African States said apart from the dire consequences of armed conflict, they are enjoined by their religious faith to seek mediation first in cases like this, current face-off between the regional bloc and Niger Republic. Sheikh Abdullahi Balalau of the Izala Group and Sheikh Abdurrahman Ahmed of Ansaruddin, who spoke to journalists on behalf of the leaders of other sects, say they want peace and harmony to reign in the region.
Advise, Mr. President, that we want peace and reconciliation. Always, if there is anything happen between you and your neighbor, the Holy Quran commands you to reconcile. So we want reconciliation. That's what we are here. And our able leader and president accepted the offer that he wants us to intervene and to talk to our brothers over there in Niger Republic, the scholars as well there. How can we come together and bring a lasting solution to this problem?
The president deplored, coup d'etat in the Sahel region, and as a Democrat himself, he said he will do everything to ensure that there is democracy, justice, freedom, and peace in the sub-region. We as ulama are also committed to peace and justice, and the president will be enabling, the government will be enabling the ulama to mediate as it is appropriate.
The death toll from Thursday morning's attack on Haipang community of Barikin Ladi local government area of Plateau State has risen to 21. Daily Trust had earlier reported how 17 people were confirmed killed in the area by suspected gunmen. The spokesperson of Operation Safe Haven, a security task force in the state, Ola James, had earlier confirmed that 17 persons were killed in the attack, suspecting that the attack was a reprisal to the killing of a commuter and injuring of one on Monday. But the Biram Youth Smolders Association, in a statement signed by its spokesperson, Ruang Tengwong, set aside the 17 persons killed in the community. 4 more bodies of vigilantes were recovered, accusing Fulani militia alongside bandits of launching the attack. Reacting to the allegation, the state chairman of Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria, Macban, Nuru Abdullahi, has denied the allegation, saying the killing was not carried out by members of the group. The Macban chairman, however, condemned the incident, describing it as barbaric, blaming the security for not responding swiftly before the attack was launched. The Daily Trust reporter in Jos, Ado Musa, gives us an update on the latest attack.
The current death toll from the incident was of 10 following the discovery of the 4 dead bodies of the vigilantes in Rayagot community. The vigilantes were trying to prevent the attackers from going further, but in the process, 4 of them were killed after the attack in Haipang, where the 17 people were killed. So with this number, we have 21 people confirmed killed in the incident. The Biram Youth Molders Association has just issued a statement condemning the attack and also accusing the Fulani herders of launching the attack. But this accusation was swiftly denied by the leadership of Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria in the state through its chairman, Nuru Abdullahi. But you know, it has been a tradition, particularly between farming and Fulani community. Whenever an attack is launched against their people, you see accusation and counter accusation between the 2 warring parties.
Residents and business owners in Yenagoa, the Bayelsa state capital, have called on the federal government to fix Nigeria's ailing refineries in order to end the rising cost of living. They made the call following the hike in the price of premium motor spirit, popularly called fuel, due to the removal of fuel subsidy. Trust TV's Friday Ebimobowe Peter reports.
The removal of fuel subsidy in the country have caused increase in the price of commodities, premium motor spirit, popularly known as fuel, and even hike in transportation system. Residents and business owners in Yenagoa who could not bear the pains occasioned by the subsidy removal called on the federal government to fix the refineries in the country. A resident in Yenagoa, Bekela Bomompa Odu, said the subsidy removal affects everybody, including the rich and the poor, that even palliative cannot solve the situation considering the era we are now.
Subsidy removal is affecting everybody in the country. Why am I saying so? Because once you touch one sector of the economy as sensitive as fuel, and you know that everybody, either you travel by air, you travel by road, you travel by water, you travel by air, and even if you travel by air, you have to take a taxi. So it affects almost everybody in this country, particularly people who are not buoyant.
Also, is business owners in Yenagoa named by Emmanuel, who is a provision store owner, and Emmanuel Friday, a laundry shop owner, expressed the difficulties they experienced as a result of the subsidy removal, that their businesses has not been good ever since the federal government pronouncement.
In drinks, Pure Water are no longer on gen based on the fuel subsidy. Yes, because when you go to fuel station to buy a fuel now, you cannot be able to afford the liter of fuel. So based on in provision level to go to market and buy goods there, the provisions then. Now the transport affair is very costly. So when you look those transport affair now to put the price of steel, customer will definitely complain. So it's very affected.
The thing they worry me well now because of that. So don't put my price for the cloth to where they iron. Customer need to come again and me say no can work. Before now 400 why they collect it now say na 600. What thing I want now make the government do so make then got the full price down.
Friday, Ebimoboy Peter, Trust TV News, Yenagwa.
The executive director of the National Veterinary Research Institute from Plateau State, Mariam Muhammad, says the institute has uncovered fake anthrax vaccines in Nasarawa, Kaduna, Kwara and Oyo states. She disclosed this in Abuja on Wednesday during a consultative meeting of veterinary experts, federal and state officials, and the Food and Agriculture Organization's Emergency Center for Transboundary Animal Diseases. The meeting was to strengthen the national strategic response to the current outbreak of anthrax in the country. Muhammad said the fake vaccines were sold at major livestock markets in the 4 states. She said a test conducted on the vaccines at the Institute's laboratory showed that they contain plain water and in some cases water containing sugar. She advised those in charge of the livestock markets to manage the supply of vaccines, noting that even genuine vaccines might become useless if not properly stored and the cold chain not properly maintained. Now, the remains of a yet-to-be identified man who jumped into the lagoon from the Lekki-Ikoyi Link Bridge area of Lagos State has been recovered. This was contained in a statement by the head public education of the Lagos State Fire and Rescue Services, Amodu Shakiru. Shakiru, who spoke on behalf of the director of the agency, Adesheye Margaret, disclosed that the corpse was recovered on Thursday at about 9:15 a.m. The unidentified man had jumped into the lagoon on Tuesday afternoon despite attempts to prevent him. Female deputy governors in Nigeria have pledged support towards uplifting the lives of Nigerian women through the Renewed Hope Initiative, a pet project of the First Lady Oluremi Tinubu. Speaking on behalf of the female deputy governors, Ogun State Deputy Governor Noimot Salako Oyedele noted that Nigeria's human capacity and the future of the country is dependent on the investment made in women, youth and children. The First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, in her remarks expressed her gratitude for the support and unity shown to her and the Renewed Hope Initiative by the deputy governors, while urging them to come together with unity of purpose and come up with ideas and initiatives that would ameliorate the hardships of the citizens. The First Lady said their support in aligning with areas of the initiative, which is intended to improve the quality of life of Nigerians, is needed, especially at a time when Nigerians need succor.
As mothers and politicians, we all agree that the future of our country is dependent on the investment we make in our children. To ensure that future generations of Nigerians are healthy, educated, and productive, the health and nutrition of under fives, the quality of compulsory basic education for our children, and skills acquisition and empowerment for our youth must be a priority. As representatives of our respective states and deputy governors, we pledge our support for the extraordinary initiatives Your Excellency will spearhead. Together, we commit to working with you to create an enabling environment where women can thrive and excel in all spheres of life.
You're watching Trust TV News Update. Coming up after the break. Tackling farmer herder crises as a panacea for food security in Nigeria. These and more after this break.
How do they come to Nigeria? They have to come through Niger Republic.
Welcome to News Hour on Trust TV.
The Coalition of Northern Groups, CNG,
Petition followed consultations and meetings.
Hello and welcome to the News Hour on Trust TV. I am
Where do they get what? How do they survive?
Kidnapping is just an extension of cattle rustling.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is the news update on Trust TV. Here's a recap of our top stories. ECOWAS holds emergency summit as Niger junta announces 21-member cabinet. And death toll from Plateau attack rises to 21 as Birom accuses herders of launching attack. Moving to other news, a cross-section of Benue residents have called on the federal and state governments to put modalities in place to enable farmers go back to their ancestral homes as a way of ensuring food security in the state and country. They are worried that at the moment, little or nothing is said about tackling the farmer herders crises, which has negatively impacted farming and food production in the state. Jimmy Azande reports.
While a lot is said about the agricultural economy, some are of the opinion that the first thing to do is to address the farmer herder crisis through the open grazing prohibition and ranches establishment law of the state.
Let government take a dispassionate look at it. Bring all the key stakeholders, and I emphasize businesses because that's important. Bring the herding community, bring the businesses, bring everybody. Give them equal ground to speak about this law and suggest new ways of going about it. And implement their recommendations, because their recommendations will help us make progress. Let's not politicize this. It's not about politics. Secondly, there are mitigation measures. Let mitigation measures be developed on the basis of the evidence on ground, not on the basis of somebody's figment of the imagination.
They mentioned some of the effects on the agricultural economy in the state.
The effect is serious on food production. The effect is serious on animal husbandry. The effect is serious on farming practices and all of that. And nobody seems to care. Nobody seems to give serious attention to it.
There is hope that the issue will be addressed as hinted by the government.
Is pointing to the fact that many things will change in the Ministry of Agriculture. I think we're going to experience better time this time. Because like I said to His Excellency, this is the first time in about 10 years that we are having a discussion on the auspices of the governor. Called us together and said, let's interact on the issues that affect agriculture.
One of the campaign promises of Governor Hyacinth Alia was to return the farmers displaced by herders invasion of the state to their ancestral homes within his first 100 days in office. Many are looking forward to the fulfillment of that promise with each passing day. Jimmy Azandi, Trust TV News, Makurdi.
Renovation works at Dikko College in Katsina have still not been completed 3 years after the contract was awarded by the central bank with a completion period of only 20 months. Abdullahi Hamadi reports that over 500 students of the college are anxious to see the completion of the work meant to create a conducive learning environment. His report.
Progress of the work is at snail speed, even as the completion period elapsed since 2021, according to the contract agreement. The fear many are entertaining is that 3 years after the award of the contract, academic activities may be obstructed or shelved again when students resume in the next few weeks. The entire premises and the proportion of the work done suggests that a lot need to be done to actualize this work. Some concerned all students of the college who were on assessment visit to the site with a view to reporting development to the appropriate authorities speak.
So all I will call for is to initiate action again, so that work starts in earnest. Why should it be stopped? This is what we are discussing now, me, you and him. You see, to get government come back, the contractor should be summoned to come back and complete this thing. There's a standing promise that before they are coming back, something will be done to accommodate elapsed students to complete their exam and to start work.
Dikko College, otherwise known as Government College Katsina, is one of the premier institutions in northern Nigeria. The institution is the alma mater of prominent personalities including former President Muhammadu Buhari, late General Shehu Musa Yar'Adua, Emir of Katsina Abdulmumin Kabir Usman, to mention but a few. Abdullahi Ismail Hamadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
And on the international scene, at least 6 people were killed in an explosion targeting a passenger bus traveling in a region outside Somalia's capital. The Somali news agency citing Muhammad Ibrahim, governor of Lower Shabelle region, said on Wednesday the attack happened on a road between Korli and Murka districts and that another 12 people had been injured. Ibrahim said an armed group's attack had caused the explosion. The news agency said on X, formerly known as Twitter, Ibrahim did not say which group was suspected to have carried out the attack. Al-Qaeda-linked Al-Shabaab has in the past taken responsibility for similar attacks. The group has been fighting since 2006 to topple Somalia's central government and establish its own rule based on a strict interpretation of Islamic law. And finally, in sports, Edson Alvarez was part of the Mexico side that won the 2023 Gold Cup by beating Panama in the final. West Ham have signed Mexico midfielder Edson Alvarez from Ajax in a deal thought to be worth about £35 million. The 25-year-old was a central figure in the Mexico side that won the CONCACAF Gold Cup in the United States this summer. Alvarez is the club's first signing of the summer following the departure of Declan Rice from Arsenal for £105 million. West Ham have agreed deals for Manchester United's Harry Maguire and Southampton's James Ward-Prowse worth about £60 million in total. They're also interested in signing Cole Palmer from Manchester City. And with that, we've come to the end of News Update on Trust TV. Do not forget to follow us across all our media platforms, including our YouTube live stream for more news, programs, and documentary. I'm Amina Yuguda. Thank you for joining us.